Welcome to Fatigued But Not Forgotten. Once again, we're rival riders in a stalled elevator with you, a group of high-powered producers. We have only 15 minutes before the elevator is repaired, and one of us, which is me this time, is going to pitch you a movie, a long-needed sequel, prequel, remake, reboot, reimagining, or remakeable to a movie that never got one. And the other guy, Sean, has a vested interest in shooting it down because, we're rivals.
Wouldn't you have a better time if you bought a jet ski? Nobody has sat on a jet ski.
This is Fatigued, but don't you give that serious look. That was terrible. This is Fatigued But Not Forgotten. My name is Matt Reifschneider, and I am joined by my friend and co-host, Sean Caylor. How are you doing today, Sean?
There's a fair to middling chance I stole that joke from Daniel Tosh. I can't remember.
That could be. I feel like that's a stand-up comedian joke somewhere in that. It was. What the hell? So today, I'm going to be pitching you guys a movie. I'm going to have 4 minutes to pitch this movie to you. Sean will then have 4 minutes to tell these you guys, the producers here in the elevator, why I'm a fucking idiot. And then we'll each have 2 minutes to make final statements. We'll get you in and out of this elevator pitch, if you will, as fast as possible. And since I am tentatively pitching a franchise, which I am, this does come with a spoiler warning for all of you out there that I am going to more than likely spoil whatever film we are talking about today. So, Sean, how are you feeling about this? Are you ready? Are you ready for the fists and feet that will be flying around?
Am literally never ready for anything that comes out of your mouth.
I know, and this one I'm pretty sure you haven't seen this one, so I'm really excited to see you try to defend this one.
And go.
All right, we are living in a golden age of action cinema. Let's remind you, producers, that right now you can make this movie that I'm going to pitch to you, and you can sell it to Netflix for all you want, make your money back, because Netflix is somehow a never-ending bank of money at this point. But today, what I'm going to pitch to you is an international film. I'm going to pitch to you a sequel to the movie Special ID. This is a movie, the original one, starring Donnie Yen as an undercover cop who's trying to take down a triad gang from the inside as he struggles to balance his life when he gets teamed up with a new handler played by Yan Tian, who was actually my choice for Mulan, just for the record. I just want to put that out there. I think she's a phenomenal actress. Andy Yan plays the villain. It's a phenomenal little action film. It's a little bit cheesy. It's not the greatest story. It's a pretty generic kind of plot line. But let's be honest, it lays the perfect foundation for a franchise. Because at the end of Special ID, our hero, played by Donnie Yen, which we will bring back for the sequel, will be, as he is, promoted back to the police force. But the problem is when you go back to the police force from being undercover, you bring a lot of your skeletons in your closet with you, to survive as being that undercover agent. And that's what happens in this sequel. Him and his new partner now have a little bit of problems as the gangs are suddenly unleashed by the devastating effects of him being able to take down this inner triad society. And they're out to get him. They're out to find out who the guy that set this up was. And it starts a triad war, and he's caught in the middle of it as a brand new police officer with his partner. So we get them right back in the foray. We invoke a little bit of, instead of the more modern style that Clarence Falk brought to the original Special ID, we're going to lean back a little bit further into Hong Kong cinema history, and we're going to go back to looking at what heroic bloodshed films were doing at the time in the 1980s. I'm thinking, let's do it a little bit grittier. Let's do it a little bit darker. The first one is definitely tongue-in-cheek at times, a little bit more fun. Had Donnie Yen poking a lot of fun at things. There was a lot of charming chemistry between its leads. We can keep that a little bit, but I think leaning it darker, making it more like a Johnny To film, perhaps a Ringo Lam film, or early John Woo, if I should invoke the maestro himself. So that's my pitch for this Special ID sequel. Obviously, Special ID is the term that you would use for an undercover agent. So we would have to change the title, maybe Special ID, reinstated, I think is probably a good title for this, since he's now a reinstated police officer. But I think you could do something really cool about this idea of what happened to him while he was undercover and how he has to dig up all of his secrets to be able to move forward with his life and his future. And I think you've got a potential for not only a fun action Hong Kong style big fight movie with lots of gang warfare and lots of knife fighting in the streets, which was very prevalent in the first one. But you can also get it a little bit darker and grittier. In if you were being so inclined, definitely throwing in a little bit of a political stance about the tensions in Hong Kong and China right now with its citizens and police. I think that you can pull something really cool out of this that's both hard hitting, entertaining as an action film, but also really thoughtful about the state that you could actually have a little bit of questions about. So I think that you could pull this off. You just would need a talented director. Again, maybe Johnny Toe. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe he would be interested in something like this. But I think we could pull off Special ID reinstated as the next big franchise out of China.
Nailed it. Right. Filled your time. So what was this called again? Special ED?
Yeah, special id.
Special ed. Okay.
Especially, yep.
So let me go ahead and just start my time. Okay, so
wow, you're already coming out with the funny names.
All right, so you're correct. I have not seen nor heard of this movie. Well, let me rephrase. I haven't seen or heard of this movie, but I have seen, The Raid 2, any number of any number of gangland movies, really. And that kind of grittier style like they're trying to do with the police story movies right now, which I have admittedly not seen those remakes, but I get where you're going with this. And, another Hong Kong action franchise might be nice, but you're basically pitching the same plot that Hong Kong gangland movies have been doing since the birth of cinema, I think, thereabouts.
Yeah. Give or take.
Yeah, give or take a year. And so, yeah, I don't have a lot of specific jabs to go against this. I know I like Andy Lau, for example, so, I can't really say much. I don't think I've seen Tianjing in anything. Nope, yep, I just frankly don't know much about this movie, so I'm just going to have to keep stabbing at your pitch.
Tianjing, man, she was in Kong Skull Island for a very small role.
Oh, I definitely thoroughly enjoyed that movie, so I'm sure she was great in it. Fair enough. But no. I mean, I get it. It's a good move. You're pitching something nobody's ever heard of. But then again, isn't that sort of the problem? Like, where's the brand recognition? I know this is my time, but feel free to answer. Did this movie do well in China?
Oh, you want me to answer during your time?
By all means. Just general.
So, for the record, it made $30 million in its theatrical release, which was only in one country. So, people don't know it necessarily, but $30 million, so not too shabby.
Okay, so fair enough. Well, that's certainly money, but at the same time, China is now in this kind of golden age where it's starting to chase those Hollywood numbers, and it's starting to achieve them. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I'm fairly sure that Neja made at least 3 times or 30 times that in China alone. But admittedly, I do know a little less about Chinese cinema and the Chinese cinema landscape. All I kind of know is the worldwide numbers and how they affect my precious Western movies. And in that broad sense, I do know the kind of numbers Chinese movies are doing now. And this is not a wandering Earth. This is not, what's it called? The Alpha Wolf Squad or whatever the hell it's called.
That's Wolf Warrior. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sure it is, champ. That's my time.
Your dad, like, punch of the shoulder. Sure it is, champ. You just punched my shoulder. So good. Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, I knew I was pitching you a hard one. So I've definitely got a rebuttal for that. So
go for it.
All right. So I know you want to say that it's a problematic. It only made $30 million. Now, that being said, this movie came out in 2013, before the Chinese box office giant boom was happening. So $30 million is actually still pretty significant at that time. It's also Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen is one of the biggest stars, and if we can get him back, which is, it'll cost a little bit of money, and I understand that, producers, but he is, an international draw at this point. Ip Man 4 did quite well in U.S. theaters. Ip Man 3 did also. So he's got a little bit of a draw. I mean, he's in Mulan, that will be coming out September 4th on Disney+. We are not sponsored by Disney+. So you've got that going for you. Also, this is a movie that he produced to begin with. So he's got an investment in its sequels and things like that. I also want to point out that what's interesting about this is that, yes, you are absolutely right. It's part of that gangland Hong Kong crime wave that was very popular in the 80s, continued to be popular, is still very popular in Chinese action cinema. It's also a formula that works, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And as long as you have strong execution on here, I think that you can pull this off. Now, I actually think you need a new director to get for this. Clarence Falk was great for the first one, but I think you could get a stronger director on this that would actually improve its quality over the original. And then hopefully this one would be one of those hidden box office gems that would definitely get your guys your money back.
Still got 20 seconds on the board.
I don't even need it. You can just take that 20 seconds and shove it right in your throat. I don't know what I was going to say. I combined like 4 different body parts. Throat is what I came out with.
Getting a little loopy in this elevator, I see.
I have been drinking heavily. Why do you ask?
All right.
If you quit asking questions, I won't have to lie, Sean.
And my time, go. I mean, yes, there is a certain logic in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, the problem isn't reestablishing that formula. The problem is movies, like I said, like, oh my god, The Raid 2 is exactly the same movie you're pitching, but you're gonna tell me on that budget without can't think of the director's name, and I'm not wasting time looking it up. Gareth Edwards, I think.
Gareth Evans.
Yeah. Thank you. And without Gareth Evans, that you're gonna even come close to reproducing something that's a tenth what The Raid 2 is. And I know that is not a fair comparison to make. The Raid 2 is like literally the greatest action movie ever made as far as I'm personally concerned. But even not holding it to that standard, what I'm saying is, like, if you're not changing that story, then you've got to compete with that somehow. And I do understand gangland cinema has evolved. You mentioned a few other directors that I'm admittedly less familiar with, so maybe they do kind of have this harder style, but obviously you're not going to beat the action gangland kind of movies, so what you got to lean on here is the story, and it just doesn't sound like much. The first one seems trifling at best. I mean, I like Donnie Yen. I'll probably rent it based on your recommendation here, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't know if this is the IP that is ripe for plucking here, personally. And that is my time.
Invoking the Raid 2, my friend. I'm going to use the word invoking a lot. I guess that's my new word for today. Every time we do it, we should do the Pee Wee Herman. So invoking the Raid 2, that's impressive. Do you happen to know how much the Raid 2 grossed in box office?
I don't, but I bet it's lower than I want it to be.
It is way more lower than you would ever guess. Like, I'm actually curious. I want you to take a wild fucking guess at how much it grossed.
Oh Lord, please tell me it made $100 million at least.
Oh, not even close.
Oof.
Partially because it didn't actually get a theatrical release very many places because of how violent it was, which is interesting. But yeah, you're looking at. Let me see what the total here in the U.S. it grossed $2.6 million.
Well, a 3.5-hour movie is going to be a hard sell at any point too.
Yeah. I saw it in theater, so I would like to think that I added to that. And then internationally, it didn't. The highest other place it grossed was $1.7 million in the United Kingdom. Everything else is below 500,000.
I could have lived my whole life not knowing that.
I'm so sorry.
We're now going to exit this elevator depressed.
I think the worldwide total was like 6.5 mil.
Oh.
I know. Shame. And we're on the wild tangent right now to talk about how sad it is the Raid 2 didn't do very well. Which is also the reason why I'm sure the Raid 3 was having a hard time getting its funding. So, with all of that said, all right, do you guys agree? Now that we went off this huge tangent, would you guys agree? Does the Raid 2 need a sequel? We ended up on this episode. No, do you guys agree with me? Have you guys even seen Special ID? Do you believe that it needs a sequel? Do you think that it's a franchise worth having? Or do you agree with Sean and just say, I don't know what this movie is? I don't know. That's up to you guys. You certainly can go check us out on the social medias. Let us know what you think. We'll have a poll up as soon as the day that this comes out. So go over to our Twitter, which is at the handle nffpod. Go vote for yes or no for Sean or myself on whether or not Special ID needs a sequel called Special ID reinstated. I almost said invoked again, and just to see if he would do the I just blew out your mic. I hope that.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Yep. But yeah, go to our Twitter, vote for that, see what you have to say. Or else you can go check us out on Facebook. Definitely let us know what you think of this episode at facebook.com/No Franchise Fatigue, which is our mothership podcast. Definitely check out our other podcasts too. We have a huge back catalog that's now up. Definitely check them out wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, you're always welcome to email Sean and let him know that Special ID is a fucking gem of a film. And where can they email you to let you know that you should watch this?
nffpod.sean @gmail.com. My name is, as always, a 4-letter word, and that 4-letter word is... What is a Special ID anyway?
Yeah, your 4-letter word is RAID.
There you go. Yeah, feel free to drop your raid love at nffpod.raid@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. You can also check me out over at Twitter at the movie Matt. My name is also a 4-letter word. It is not an S word like Sean's. So, in the end, though, hopefully you guys agree. You guys, the elevator is now opening up. So you guys can certainly shuffle away. I know this was a hard pitch, but definitely go watch Special ID first, and then let me know what you think of my pitch. I'm happy to hear all about it. So let us know over on the social medias. So thank you so much.
You know, if your pitch had baseball, Batman, and